Rich versus broke at 30. Same income, different habits. Have you ever looked at someone your age, maybe a friend, a coworker, someone you went to school with, and thought, how are we living such different financial lives? Like you actually know what they make. Same company, same role, same paycheck. And yet somehow, their life feels calmer. They don't panic when rent is due. They don't stress when the car makes a weird sound. They don't constantly do that mental math in their head. Meanwhile, you're counting days. Okay, if I pay this now, I can push that bill to next week. Maybe I'll just put it on the card and deal with it later. Next month will be better. And what really messes with your head is you're not irresponsible. You're not lazy. You didn't mess things up. You did what you were supposed to do. You went to school, you got a job, you're working hard. So why does it feel like two people with the same income can end up in completely different places by 30? Why does one feel stable and the other constantly feels behind? I've spent way too much time thinking about money, habits, and why some people quietly build wealth without ever feeling rich, while others stay stressed even as their income grows. And the uncomfortable truth is this: by 30, the gap between rich and broke usually has nothing to do with income. It's habits, small ones, quiet ones, the kind you don't notice day to day, but that compound relentlessly over a decade. And once you see them side by side, same income, different habits, you can't unsee it. Where both people start. Here's the thing. At 22, 23, 24, everyone feels broke together. Cheap furniture, shared apartments, low expectations. Nobody stands out. But somewhere in the late 20s, something shifts. Not externally, internally. One person starts asking different questions. Not big dramatic questions, quiet ones. How much do I actually need to feel safe? What happens if this job disappears? Why does money stress follow me even when I earn more? The other person doesn't ask those questions, not because they're careless, but because life feels fine. Bills are paid, fun is happening, nothing is on fire, so there's no urgency. Both are doing okay, but one is building margin, and the other is consuming it. And margin, that's where the split begins. Same income, different spending psychology. Here's a subtle difference most people miss. The broke at 30 version spends reactively. Bad day, spend. Good day, spend. Stressful week, spend. Money becomes emotional regulation, not reckless, just constant. Meanwhile, the rich at 30 version also spends. They enjoy life, but their spending is intentional. They don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, is this worth trading future flexibility for? That one question changes everything. Because broke habits optimize for today, rich habits quietly optimize for options. Lifestyle expansion versus control. Both people get raises, and this is where paths really split. One upgrades life automatically. Nicer apartment, better furniture, more convenience, less friction. Nothing crazy, nothing irresponsible. It just happens. The other upgrades selectively. They let lifestyle grow, but not proportionally. Raises create margin first. That margin becomes savings, investments, breathing room. Same income growth, different absorption. One feeds lifestyle, the other feeds freedom. What happens to extra money? Watch what happens when unexpected money shows up. Bonus, tax refund, side income. The broke at 30 version feels relief. This helps me catch up. Money fills holes. Debt, delayed bills, past decisions. The rich at 30 version feels opportunity. This strengthens the system. Money builds buffers. Emergency fund, investments, time. Same money, different direction. Automation versus willpower. Here's where things get unfair. The rich at 30 version doesn't rely on discipline. They automate. Savings leave the account before spending can happen. Investments happen without asking permission. Bills are predictable. Friction is removed from good habits. The broke at 30 version relies on intention. I'll save what's left. I'll invest next month. I'll be better about it. But intention loses to exhaustion every time. Systems don't. Emergencies reveal everything. Emergencies expose habits instantly. Car repair, medical bill, job disruption. The broke at 30 version panics. Credit cards, loans, stress. The rich at 30 version adjusts. It's annoying, but not destabilizing. Because emergencies aren't rare, they're guaranteed. And preparation determines whether they're inconvenient or catastrophic. The confidence shift. Here's a weird side effect nobody talks about. As savings grow, confidence changes. The rich at 30 version negotiates better. They tolerate less nonsense. They leave bad situations sooner, not because they're arrogant, because desperation is gone. The broke at 30 version feels trapped. Every paycheck feels essential, so options shrink, and that quietly shapes career decisions for years. Time horizon is the real divider. Broke habits think in weeks. Rich habits think in years. Not because rich people are smarter, because stress compresses time. When you're worried about bills, the future feels abstract. Once stability exists, patience becomes possible, and patience is where wealth compounds. It was never about income. This is the uncomfortable truth. Most people who were broke at 30 didn't fail. They just never built systems early enough. And most people who were rich at 30 didn't sacrifice joy. They controlled direction. Same income, different habits, different results. Conclusion. By 30, the financial gap feels huge, but it didn't happen suddenly. It happened slowly, quietly, one habit at a time. From the inside, both lives felt normal. That's why this matters. Because if you're 30 or getting close, you're not late, but you are at a crossroads, not between rich and broke, between direction and drift. You don't need a massive income jump. You don't need extreme frugality. You don't need perfection. You need awareness, systems, margin. Because money doesn't change your life by existing. It changes your life by how it behaves when life gets hard, and habits decide that, quietly, relentlessly, over time.